Next item, please.
Next item, action items. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below.
I believe, Madam Secretary, we have to pull 17 for roll call vote. Are there any other ones?
Okay, so move that action items number 1 through 16, 18 be approved as recommended in this agenda, with the exception of 17.
So moved. Support.
Motion moved by Trustee Petrikov, supported by Trustee McDonald. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. Unless there are any objections to the motion, we will attend a unanimous roll call. In the affirmative, please. Let's go to 17, Madam Secretary.
Move that executive session be held on Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in Room 12. The purpose of the closed session is to discuss negotiations per Section 8C of the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Trustee McDonald, supported by Trustee Petrikov. Madam Secretary, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee D'Ambrosio?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Moses? Trustee Petrikov?
Yes.
Trustee Watts? Yes. President Thorpe?
Yes, thank you. Boy, we love punishment, don't we? Next item, please.
I have to do summary of agenda
Oh, I'm sorry.
action
Go ahead.
items. Number 1, approval of
minute.
warrants. Number 2, approval of an award to school specialty. Number 3 through 7, approval of change orders. Number 8, approval of Wayne Risa Parent Advisory Committee representatives. Number 9, approval of an award to First Ohio, Inc. Number 10, approval of an award to AHERA designated person. Number 11 through 13, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P-12. Number 14, approval of financial statement. Number 15, approval of 2023-2024 board schedule meeting per board report 22-148. Number 16, approval of Wayne Westland Schools 2023-2024 cooperative agreement per board report 22-149. Number 17, approval of an executive session closed negotiations on Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And number 18, approval of donations.
Thank you. Now,
I'm sorry? Oh,
now-
discussion items, policy updates, Dr. Glenn Maloyko and Mr. Dave Mustonen. Policy updates, policy number 2414, reproductive health and family planning. Policy number 2623, student assessment. Policy number 7250, selection of names for facilities. And policy number 8400, school safety.
Good evening, trustees. First off, I would just like to thank our board policy committee chaired by Trustee Watts, Trustee Barry, Trustee McDonald. Board members, we see you here and at the public meeting. We don't always see all the other work that you do and all the other policy and building and site and finance and all the other committee work that you do and all that extra time. I very much appreciate the three of you taking the extra time to work through our policies and address some of our backlog and get some of these things updated. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. The policies that are here for discussion have been moved through the policy committee for review. They've been shared with the entire board for further review. And if there are any questions on any of those, I'm here to answer those at this time.
Are there any questions? I don't see any. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Mustonen because you are the one that's keeping us on track for everything, but thank you.
Next item, please.
Next, Board of Education business. Acknowledgements of correspondence.
Trustee Petrikov?
No.
What?
No.
Okay. Next item, please.
Board member committee and organization reports. I'll just go ahead and continue with that with the policy committee. We met earlier today. We went over an extensive list of policies. One of them is a Neola update, policy 6325, that it has to do with federal grants. We are waiting for Mr. Wall to look at it because he would have a better understanding as to what the verbiage may or may not need to be added to that one. The next one was 9140, Citizens Advisory Committee. Before it had the verbiage that it would to be approved by the board, but we changed the language to update it to actually reflect how we have the process, which is that the superintendent updates the board as to the committee members. The next one was a very lengthy technology package that was Neola updates that came through. There was maybe 10 of those updates. 3 of them, we already had an existing policy, so that it's all technology-based. 3 of them, 7530.01, 7540, and 7540.02. Each one had maybe a verbiage of devices, applications, nothing that just needed update in terms of some of the vernacular, but nothing that was a large update. Some of them, 7540.03 and 7540.04, is from Neola, and that speaks to the policy of student and staff usage of district-issued Chromebooks. We don't currently have an existing policy for that, so Neola provided one for us, and there will be some updates with that. One of them is 8300. We do not have that policy. That dealt with creating organizational plans for departments for the what if a disaster were to happen, for instance, outside of, if we were to get hacked, what that department would do for their process. This is something that I think over in the next 6 months, we'll have Danielle perhaps look at that and have a process before the policy is put in place to address all of those what ifs that hopefully never happen. The other 2 that we do not have is 8305 and 8315. Both of those are policies that need a lot of verbiage being changed, and they'll be back to the policy committee. We weren't quite ready to tackle that one yet. The other one was 8351. There was no update from Neola. It was something that we wanted to get update, and I don't remember what 8351 spoke to. Do you remember if you have it on yours? I don't have notes on that one. The second to last.
David?
Do you remember what that one was?
Remind us, please.
So another policy, another technology-related policy that we were going to wait on. We were going to pause on that
Okay.
one. So, yeah,
Okay.
we got more information on that.
Okay, and then the last one was 9700.01. This one, an update was provided and also needs to get update, and it dealt with advertisements on specific cameras that are set up in the gymnasiums that would be able to have live sports being broadcasted, and it dealt with the advertisements that you would see at the bottom of that camera, and it's a third party that would come in, and I believe they're called Huddle, and there's another company, but the policy didn't speak to how much control we have over, or we were debating how much control we wanted over every single advertisement, and so it's going to be brought back because we felt we wanted more control that we could probably specifically put into the contract, but the contract and policy, so we wanted to have a little deeper dive into what that would look like. And then the other one is that we will be meeting again to go over additional Neola policies because we had quite a lot on this list. And then something we did discuss was that we could not find, and this is where we need some historical background on, the 15-minute extension of board meetings. So we looked into it, not we, Mr. Mustin did, and there's nothing that speaks to why we have the 15-minute extension. There's nothing in the Open Meeting Act, there's nothing in a Roberts Rule, so we were trying to get some sort of historical perspective as to how we feel, why was it needed, is it still needed, and I'm not sure if anyone here on the board would have that, but maybe reach out to previous board members to find out where that came, because we have no historical information as to why it was started.
I'm almost wondering if it comes from the state school act, where they have some, I could be wrong, but they may have originally have, because we also have a similar requirement at the college level as well. So it may have been a throwback from something that the state required I don't know. I really can't.
Yeah.
It's always been, I've been on the board since 2008, and it was always in existence.
that was something
it
that we were-
well before my time
So
as
that was
well.
something we're gonna look into. And then the one I had asked if we could look at the policy, if we can look at the policy that speaks to, now that social media has increased exponentially every school year, what is that policy that speaks to how students are using social media to either harass or bully other students, either while they're off school property? And what does that, and do we have that policy, and where would we find that policy?
Could I add that if we could include something else that was just recently
Please.
brought to our attention? When we had a recent school lockdown, students were sharing video from inside the classroom, kind of showing what was going on in real time, and then it was being broadcast on social media, Facebook pages, without those pages understanding what was actually taking place. It could have potentially violated some security issues by showing what was going on inside a classroom while it was under lockdown, and what was happening inside the building. And B, it didn't include the references of what was actually taking place. It was like preemptive, but the students were sending out their own video without any ability to critique it, so to speak, and people were posting it then as news before they had the true story. So if we could find, if there is some way to have, I don't know, in the technology, student technology, and maybe even the teacher technology, of sharing these kinds of incidents without permission, or I don't know how and if it's even available to,
I see Mr. Musson had taken some notes, so I'm sure we'll discuss it at the next
Yeah.
council meeting. So thank you for that.
just see,
Yeah,
just
that's a
see
gr-
if there's something
Thank you for
we can
bringing that
develop.
up.
Yep. And did I miss anything from policy?
I think,
The only thing, just wanted to add about the 15-minute, perhaps we do need to extend the meeting, but we were also looking at maybe there's a better way that we can do it. So,
So, yeah, so it's twofold. Number one,
Right.
where did it come from? And number two, do we want to revisit it do we want to update it later on? So I guess it's twofold. So I guess number one, let's find out the history of it, and then perhaps that would then prompt number two.
Yeah,
Sure,
my,
sure.
my suspicion would be that we have stated on the agenda a set end time. So if we're going to go over that end time and not automatically adjourn, because that's how the agenda is set, 10 o'clock, we adjourn.
sure, sure.
So it might have something to do with that.
We'll bring you some more information at the next meeting. Anything else? There was no other committees?
yes, there was.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We had a Building and Sites
Oh, that's
Committee.
right, hello.
And let's see, this was about the planning process for ESSER 3 funds and building and site funds. It's a total of close to $100 million, and 53 million of that is out of the ESSER funds, and about 40 million will come directly from the district, from our general funds. We're in phase 1 with Duval, Oakman, Snow, and Nowlin, and they're on the schedule. Work will be ramping up on Friday, June 16th. Plans are in place to make sure that school can resume in August. Phase 2 is Howard Long and Nowlin. Nowlin will begin Monday, June 19th, and that work will happen during the summer because there are so many special needs students in that building, and that's to avoid classroom disruptions. Howard and Long will begin in October and November, and we'll do it like we're doing other buildings in the district now. We'll find an alternate space. We'll have to move a classroom for a bit of time while those rooms are getting the renovations that they need. And so it is disruptive, but it's necessary. We've got to get the work done, and, we have no other place to put the students. And a lot of summertime work is being done in other areas. So we couldn't get everything done over the summer. But we did prioritize those students with special needs that can't handle the disruptions. So I just wanted that to be clear. DHF, the turf is scheduled to start the week of June 26th. Weather permitting, the project will be completed prior to the beginning of the 23-24 athletic season. We have summer roof projects, and we are including installing new partial roofs with 20-year warranties at Etzel, Stout, Whittemore, Bowles, and Woodworth. We have 2.7 million square feet of flat roof that is done. That's why we have to do it in portions, because there's so much. We can't do like a complete roof. So you may see a roofing project that's stout one year, and then the next year you may see a roofing project that's stout. That's not redoing the same roof. That's doing it portions at a time, because we have so much roof. That's the best way to get it completed. Miller Fire Alarm Project improvements will begin on Monday, June 19th. Etzel Ford Gym Floor, the work will begin, or will resume on Friday, June 16th. Fordson Weight Room is to begin on Monday, June 26th. The contractor has confirmed that they will complete prior to the beginning of the 23-24 football season. And there's 4 or 5 different funding sources from that, including parents and including buildings. So there was a lot of work done to gather the funds to help make that project possible. We have the electric bus infrastructure, and we're working through through some contractual issues. August 15th is the deadline to purchase the buses. We should have no problem meeting that deadline. And the timetable is 12 to 14 months after that starts. We're planning projects. We are looking at the early college over at the college. We're going to change the buildings, but we're still in the design phase of that. So there's more work to become forthcoming. Hague Elementary, the drawings have been completed. The scope of the work will allow us to work during the school year. By starting the project late fall, we will be able to get more competitive bids. Again, a lot of the work for the summer has already been contracted across the country. So we'll get more competitive bids, but that will start in the fall. Oh, let's see. I'm sorry. Oh, this work will also move into the 23-24 school year. Most of the work will be completed on second shifts to avoid disruption of classes during the day. And we are talking about, we're going to start with the lighting, which is an 18-month project, and that's should be completed in 2024. And then you're also looking at building envelopes, window tents, kitchen water, steam traps, pool chemicals, building controls. There's a lot of other portions to that work that's going to be done. Summer projects completed in-house with our trades. We're looking at doing something a little different, and this is with the roofing. We're going to try to, or asphalt on the pavement. We're going to rent an asphalter and have some of our trades people do some of the work on repairs, which would save the district some money, hopefully, and help. A lot of people don't want to do patchworks. A lot of companies, they want to do the work for a whole parking lot. Well, when we just have a patchwork that needs to be done, this might be a better way of doing it. So we're looking at doing that. We're wrapping up the DHS Media Center improvements, tennis court repairs and DHS, Etzel Ford and Fordson. Bryant Tomac and cooking classrooms will be converted into a science room. And let's see. And we're also working on switching cabling and install schedule. The project cost of this is about $3.4 million, which $2.8 million is funded by USF funds. It's a funding grant, and that money will be reimbursed to the district. It's about 75 to 80% of the project. And that's all I have. Did I miss anything? Anybody that's on that?
Nope, I think you covered it all.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
But just to clarify, the one thing about the lighting and the building envelopes, I'm not sure, did you mention it was the train, it was the energy bond?
Yeah, the energy bond, you're right, I think I did ask
That
that.
is that project that.
And that is a
moving
non-voter
forward.
approved
Yeah.
bond. That's the energy bond that was approved a while back, and the closing was done on May 23rd. Thank you, I missed
I know
that
what she was
line.
referring to, but thank you for
But yeah,
clarifying that. Thank you.
not everybody might have.
Okay, next item, please.
Board member and superintendent commentary. I was just going to wish everybody a safe end of the school year. I think with seniors out, and I know they had prom and graduations coming up, the excitement, and we're going to hear the engines roaring even more, but I just want to make sure that the next 8 days that students are in school, that they are safe and that they have a safe and healthy summer.
Anybody else? Dr. Maliko? I also offer congratulations to the class of 2023. Next item, please.
Request for information and/or future agenda items.
Trustee Petchakov?
One thing, we are, for everybody who hasn't and might have something they want to suggest for the City Relations Committee meeting that we're having next week, if you have anything you would like to add, I'll share the agenda with everyone. We did include the conversation about vaping concerns along with mental health issues and drug use that we know it is a pervasive issue in the community, and so should be a community discussion. So we will be talking with city officials about how we can partner with that. And Dr. Maliko, I don't know if you're ready yet I know that we're moving forward with the I guess you call it a pilot program for reinstating a driver's education program. We haven't really made any kind of public announcements about where we're moving with that, and we know that driving anywhere right now has become a hot topic of concern. And I'm happy to see that we are moving in a direction to try to help new drivers be better drivers through a new program, but I don't know where we're at this point, if we've got something ready to move or
Do you want to
not.
answer now, or do you?
Well, is it a program that students would partake of
Mike.
during the summer?
Yeah, I think and we can bring it up at City Relations too.
Good
Thank
evening
you.
again. We've actually partnered with Official Driving School. We vetted and interviewed so many different driver's education programs. This one seemed like it was the most comprehensive. They offered us a discounted rate, I believe, of $350 per student, but we've had some very, very generous donors from the community as well. We've been able to raise about $10,000 just in scholarships. So what we recently did was we sent that out to all the high school counselors,
Okay.
and they're going to nominate about 5 or 6 students per high school, to where it would be cost-free to them. We're continuing to work with different organizations and different foundations to where we can hopefully at one point have it little to no cost for most of our students but as a start, this is kind of where we ended up. Through our interview process and through just learning about the driver's education process, we found it was just too difficult to truly bring it back in-house with
Right.
our own staff because of different requirements and trainings and so on and so forth. But we're very happy with Official Driving School right now, so hopefully we can continue to expand on this model.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very, very excited about that. I attended a triple funeral last week, and 2 of them were young people because of traffic accidents. Trustee Watts?
I wanted to add that I had conversations with Senator Camilleri last week on Mackinac Island, and he is adding something to the budget that may help cover the cost for some of our most of our students. It's still in the early phases, but that was a conversation that he's helping with Wayne Westland as well, and he was thinking about the Dearborn Public Schools. So he may be reaching out to you, Dr. Maliko, to not only cover the cost, but also to change some legislation so that maybe isn't the private versus the bringing it back to public school. So there is some discussion that other districts are also seeing, so he's probably on the forefront of that. So I told him I'd bring that to you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yep.
You do?
I
Okay,
do.
Trustee McDonald, I'm sorry. I thought
Oh. No, I do. With everything that's changing so rapidly about artificial intelligence, I just would like to have some kind of idea, at least have it in our heads, that students are going to have to understand, and not just, I mean, as they go into the adult world and get, the jobs are gonna be different. I don't know what we can add to the curriculum to help them understand or work with or how that's going to be incorporated in the jobs of the future. But then it's also gonna impact things like academic integrity. It's gonna just impact so many things in our district. I would just kind of like us to start thinking about the ways that it will impact it, what we can do to help our students and our teachers and everyone else get a better handle on it. It's just a very vast subject, and I know it's, encompassing so many things, but I just want to put it on everybody's radar that we need to start thinking in that vein and get some ideas and some plans together.
Okay. Dr. Malik, I have a couple of things. Our transportation budget, I think about 5 years ago, you gave us a report. Maybe you can share that report with some of our newer colleagues. Sure. And get it updated. What I'm looking for is see how much of our budget is being outsourced and what does that mean in routes. The other thing is, mentioned that earlier, the emergency drills, are we in compliance? Are we up to par?
Yes.
Website, so I just want to make sure.
We'll get an
that-
update for you.
Okay, great. And did Trustee, President Thorpe get a chance to talk to you about incoming ninth graders? Maybe he didn't. I'll just go ahead and do the ask then. Incoming ninth graders, I'd like to see a report of the incoming ninth graders that are legally moved, just picked up from one end of town and legally moved to another end, going into the high schools, or all of a sudden there was a change of address. Or the other option would be if they received a school of choice or borderline exemption between Edson Ford High School, Fortson High School, and Dearborn High School. And if we can put a little asterisk by the students that are athletes, please.
Yeah, and he did comment he wanted some information on the exemptions, and I know Student Services is working on that as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, we had a
But not
discussion,
this, yeah.
he says no mention
So
to
you,
you, but
you-
that's.
can you, so. at
So
the-
legally moved, picked
Okay.
up, I mean,
There
just
you go.
decided to upgrade a house, move from the east side to the west side.
East,
They're going to different high schools, incoming ninth graders.
Okay,
Or just all of a sudden, they show up with another address at a different high school. Or if we gave them school of choice / borderline exemptions. And I know there is no school of choice in Dearborn, but we call it that, school of choice / borderline exemptions, with the asterisk if it's an athlete going into that high school.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Next item, please.
No, but I would like
Go.
to add that I think for policy, we should look into having policy verbiage about using AI for our,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying, with our students?
Yeah, it is in one of the.
Of course.
updates that I've sent over.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, thank you.
You're asking for more work.
Yep. Future meeting dates, Monday, June 12th, 2023, HFC Board of Trustees Policy Meeting, 6 PM at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Cabinet Conference Room. Monday, June 12th, 2023, HFC Board of Trustees Meeting, 7 PM at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom. Tuesday, June 13th, 2023, P-12 City Relations Committee Meeting, 4 PM at the City of Dearborn in the City Council Chambers. Monday, June 19th, 2023, P-12 Executive Session, Negotiations Closed, 6 PM at the Administrative Service Center in the Room 12. Monday, June 19th, 2023, P-12 Board Meeting, 7 PM at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom.
And without any meeting extensions, we are adjourned.
Very good.